Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Lane Yappers. I'm Mox.
I'm Rosie, and this is our Singapore recap times 2.
2.0.
We did it before, and it just didn't record.
Didn't record for some reason. So, but before we get into Singapore, we have to talk about Baku because we were going to record, and then Rosie had surgery. So, Baku, real quick. Max Verstappen, you rock my world. Oscar Piastri, DNF. Carlos Sainz, first podium with Williams. I think that's all the talking point. And George Russell was really sick. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, moving on to Singapore. Before practice session even started, the FIA had put out a heat advisory because it was going to be over 31 degrees Celsius. So that allowed the drivers to wear those cooling vests and have like new cooling systems in the car if they choose. Rosie has some opinions on that cooling vest.
Charles, you rock my world.
She sent it to every single chat. I'm in like 5 chats with her over messages. She sent it 5 times in those chats and then sent it personally to me. I'm like, I get it. Thank you. But also talking about the heat, the commentators were talking and they're like, I don't understand why they're so soft on drivers with like the heat. Like it kind of adds more excitement to the races. And I was like, because they could die. They could pass out in a car and
heat stroke is no joke. And if you remember,
like I get like
at Qatar,
I get like,
was it Lance that like passed out?
I think it was 2023 Qatar when everybody was struggling.
Yeah.
Logan, I know 2023 Logan had to DNF and he's like, sorry guys, I'm literally going to pass out. I need to come in. Because it was so hot. So
Logan
I think last
Sargent.
year was Vegas.
Haven't heard that name in a long time.
I think it was last year Vegas. The first session was really, really hot for some reason.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody doesn't know about Vegas, it's a desert, okay? However, it gets very, very, very cold at night. So the fact that it was a night race and it got hot was weird. Anyways, thank you. But talking about heat, Alex Albon felt the heat a little too much. Forget car too hot. Brakes were on fire.
Car fire.
Just not like a bad fire. Brakes were on fire, but it caused him to not participate in the rest of the session. And like they put it out and then they were bringing it into the garage and it went up in flames again.
I was just, if we think back to a few races ago, Carlos had a brake fire as well. So it's clearly something with the Williams specifically.
Braking system.
Personally, I would be on that because, well, cars aren't supposed to do that.
Also, a little fun fact is, well, during like the whole session, it was kind of a slow session, so they were giving fun facts. A fun fact was the Singapore Grand Prix took away some of the corners that a lot of the drivers crashed in because for some reason.
Well, I don't know.
They didn't really give a reason. They were like, just for safety, it makes sense, but they weren't like, they didn't say like this person came and complained. It was just like, I think they just agreed to make it safer. And they added holes in the wall for lizards.
When you think back to Singapore 2 years ago, and George...
No, we're not talking about that.
And they didn't red flag it.
I wanted to kill him. But also, the commentators were kind of savage. this practice session, they literally were like, let's join on board with the one-time race winner, Pierre Gasly. They could have just said, let's join Pierre Gasly on board.
Like, what is the need for that? Like, Gasly won in Monza as well, of all places. Like, you know.
That's, like, embarrassing. I would sue them for defamation.
Yeah.
No, yeah, probably.
Like,
yeah, that was bad. Also, Merc had a little, I don't know if it's an upgrade or just a change. They didn't say it was an upgrade, but I don't understand how changing your car isn't an upgrade. But Mercedes changed their front wing to fix the drag and the downforce, because the next few races are going to be a very heavy downforce focused track. And it worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that was also about the time Carlos jumped to P1. And I was like, oh, this could have been a William dominant session if Alex
just going
didn't have his brakes on fire.
Throw it in there. It is still mathematically possible for Charles to win the championship.
Here we go again. Speaking of Charles, Ferrari. Oscar radioed in going, Ferrari will invent mirrors one day, I hope, because Lewis impeded him.
Okay, Diva.
That was the beginning of sassy Oscar, but P1 was Fernando Alonso! We were cooking! P2 was Charles Leclerc, and P3 was Max Verstappen. I really thought this was going to be the race. I was like, Fernando Alonso, this is going to be the race. Overnight between FP2 and FP3, they changed the specs, so. But anyways, FP2. This was the only night session that was a practice session, so they were really needing to get laps in. No red flags, nothing, because this was the only time they could do a race simulation before
the race.
Quali. And do you know who took advantage of that? The stakes.
Yeah, I don't understand the Sauber development at all.
Does anybody? Literally, does anyone? If you do, comment, please. Let us know, because what?
What are they doing?
Because, it would be different if it was, we all know Mercedes is better in the cold.
Yeah.
They've said that multiple times. Their car is better in the cold. But, Sauber got a podium in Silverstone when it was kind of cold and wet. Singapore was
very
roiling
wet.
hot. That means they should have a balanced car, but they don't, what is happening? But they were P7 and P8, which is
not bad.
Impressive for them. Also, Antonelli went off, and they were like, oh, someone's off. Oh, it's Antonelli. I was like, oh god, here we go again. And then, he did the smoothest spin I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was very ballerina-esque, you know.
And then, a yellow flag went off, and they were like, oh, it's the other Mercedes. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
And then George, with no front wing.
George had no front wing.
He
was able to get it. He was able to get it back into the pit lane, so it wasn't that drastic. It was a red flag though, because his front wing was literally in the middle of the track.
Yeah, it was just kind of there. I mean,
it was actually so funny watching him drive without a front wing. That car looks funky without a front wing.
It looks naked. It's better than, what was it, Baku, when they had the rubber under or the week before, where they had the rubber under the curb.
This is literally what it looked like. I just broke it.
My Ferrari.
I don't even know where that piece went, but I just broke it. But that's what it looks like, and I was like, oh, that happened.
A bit like this, but black.
Yeah. Black and silver. Yeah. But, while we were waiting for the green flag again, they gave a little fact. I wouldn't call this fun because it just made people want it again, but if Lewis finishes P1 or P2 this weekend, he will be the first driver in F1 history to reach 5,000 points, which it's not impressive.
Crazy.
It's impressive because I'm shocked nobody else has done it, but I, like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, if anybody can do it, it's Lewis Hamilton. And then you got to remember he's also in a Ferrari, so...
Yeah, I think it would be surprising if he racks up that amount by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We got a green flag pretty soon after, because the marshals just had to grab the front wing. And then we got a yellow flag again. Liam Lawson was in the wall. His tire was gone.
Yeah.
Like, down the track, gone.
Like...
I was like, okay. Obviously, that moved to a red flag, and he had crashed right at the beginning of the pit entry. So they closed the pit lane, and then all the drivers were like, so it's a red flag, so we're supposed to go back to the garage, but the pit lane's closed. How exactly do we get to the garage? They opened it immediately after because they also realized that. But they also said Liam's floor was on fire during this red flag.
I don't think so. I think it was just like smoke from it hitting the...
I think it was more the suspension and the brakes breaking when he was heavily braking. But I was like, oh, I don't think that's supposed to happen. And also, this is just not looking good for Lawson, with Lindblad and Dunn being rumored to be going to Racing Bulls, and there's only one seat left because Hadjar is being promoted.
Especially with
and Sonoda.
Yeah, especially with the termination of Dunn's McLaren development contract.
Immediately.
Which also,
by the way,
it screams that both Piastri and Norris have extremely long-term contracts with McLaren, which we did know, but we didn't know how long.
But, like, I also think Alex Dunn probably got the offer of, you can go to another racing series if we don't have the seat open because we want to keep Piastri and Norris. And he's like, no, I want F1.
Well, yeah, like...
Which makes sense, by the way. But, like, they're in IMSA, they're in WEC, they're in IndyCar, they're in a lot of these things. So, like, he could have gone to another, like, motorsport series. But obviously he's on the track for F1, and Racing Bulls have 2 open seats. So why not talk with them?
I do think,
and with how he's doing in F2,
like, a lot of non-F1 motorsport drivers will say, you know, F1 isn't necessarily the end game, but I do think a lot of them aspire to be there, with prime example being Colton Herta in the Cadillac seat, or Cadillac Reserve.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. It's just so funny because so many IndyCar, it's the big discussion this season, because Danny Ricciardo was asked, like, would you ever go to IndyCar? And he's like, no, that's just like a graveyard for old drivers. And then every IndyCar fan was like, oh, like, he doesn't know IndyCar's faster than F1, like, it's as competitive. And then Colton Herta was like, yeah, I'm choosing Cadillac because I want to end up in F1. And I'm like, oh, he ended that rumor.
And Herta was like, you know, he was doing quite well in IndyCar, so...
Yeah.
I did think he was a lot older than he was, though.
Same. Also, I don't understand why somebody that successful in IndyCar is going for a reserve seat. Like, I'd get it if he got offered, like, if Racing Bulls was like, here's a seat right now. Like, I'd get that. But, like, you're not driving, dude.
Yeah. Might as well drive an IndyCar in your free time.
Like, do Pato. Like, do what Pato does, who's the reserve driver for McLaren, but also... I don't know. Anyways, we got a green flag, and Isaac Hadjar immediately went P1. Which I find so funny. I've noticed this recently, that when other teammates either DNF because of a brake failure or like a mechanical engine failure or they crash or something like that, the other teammate goes top of the times.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's gonna be painful to watch. Being like, wow, I just crashed. Okay, my teammate went P1. Great.
That would literally make me...
I would be furious. I'd be like, get my car ready. I'm going out right now. Like, furious. This was also the green flag. When we got the green flag, this is when Ferrari released Charles, and Charles went right into Lando.
I think the teams must have said, okay, you're clear at the same time. And Charles can't, you know, the Ray-Ban logo on the Ferrari cockpit, Charles can't see past there necessarily. So he's obviously been told, okay, you're clear to go.
He's also trusting his team to not have him crash.
Yeah, you're not going to then...
I think he got a fine, or the team got a fine. I can't remember, but yeah.
Norris could have also just braked, but...
Well, did you watch the video? Like, he was fully in front of Charles, and Charles went boom. Like, I think Lando probably saw it way too late and was like, oh, he's coming towards me. Because he did brake, but Charles was already on his way. So, but that was the end of the session. So P1 was Oscar Piastri, P2 was Isaac Hadjar, and P3 was Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen was pretty steady these sessions.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, guys. 5th world champion's possible. Let's go. FP3, though, was the next day. And I was so excited because, like, Max was flying, the Mercedes were flying, Ferrari was doing pretty okay. Like, all these cars, but McLaren was kind of in the background. Like, Oscar did well, but he just did one flying lap before everybody else could get a lap in. And he had no traffic. Like, it wasn't like, sorry, Rosie, but it wasn't like he was, like, this amazing 20 seconds ahead, you know, things like that. So I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. Like, it's actually going to be like a fight to the finish. McLaren's went flying. They were like 10 seconds ahead of everybody in the session. I was like, all right, there goes my fun.
Yeah.
But also, Lando got a radio message literally after he did his first flying lap, which was top of the times, and they were like, welcome back, mate. From where?
Yeah,
like, I know he meant, like, welcome back to the top of the times, but, like, it wasn't like he was P20 the last 2 sessions.
Yeah, and, like, well, McLaren have been doing very well, so...
I mean, I guess it was, like, the same, like, with Singapore last year, where Max, I don't remember where Max finished, but he was on the podium, and they were like, and your good old pal, Daniel, took fastest lap.
I think he finished second.
Max was like, tell him welcome back. Like, after you've had a pretty rough 2 races through it, whatever races, like, you're gonna say welcome back, but...
I would say thank you, Daniel Ricciardo, for securing Ferrari.
We also got another red flag. Liam Lawson was once again in the wall. This is when I was like, oh, it's really not looking good for him.
Yeah.
Crashes twice in a row. The same wall, the same wheel. Those poor mechanics. They're like, really? We just fixed this car?
Genuinely, I would be so angry if I was an F1 mechanic. Like, because what do you mean that I've just fixed that and now you've broken it again?
Like, oh, I would have been so mad. Like, Haas last year, and basically Haas period.
And Williams
like,
last year.
Except for this season, for the first time, like, Haas isn't crashing every race. I would have quit. I would have put my 2 weeks notice in.
But, like, you know, Oscar's mechanics, they were doing pretty well. They've, like, you know, his Baku DNF was the second in 2 years, I think. So
Yeah. But also we had an issue with the drink system. Yuki Tsunoda came on the radio and he's like, the drink system is horrible. I'm gonna drown. I don't know if it was disconnected. I don't know if it didn't stop. Nobody really knows. All we know is he was drowning in his helmet. That's fun.
okay, Carter's been there, done that. Mr. Worldwide.
Also, this is when we found out Aston Martin changed some of the specs. Alonso was dead last. He was slower than the guy who crashed. He was behind Liam Lawson. Next time, Aston Martin, just don't touch it. Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. Also, during that red flag, it was noted Hamilton was noted for a red flag infringement. I don't really understand what it was. Because, like, he was on a flying lap, and it was a yellow flag, so he slowed down a little bit, and then it was a red flag, but it changed to a red flag, and he slowed down after he saw it. But people were like, he didn't slow down fast enough. I was like, God forbid he was pressing a button. Like give him at least 5 seconds to react.
You guys tried.
Nothing came of it, fast. Though. Is he really going that fast in a Ferrari?
He's going fast enough.
But, also, talking about Alonso, after he did a flying lap when the lights went green again, he once again was slower than Lawson. He saw it on the TV, and he groaned. Like, I need to tell you just how bad, like, he sounded so upset. I was like, sir, I give you permission to run people over. I don't know who needs to be run over, but I give you permission. Also, George, people were struggling this race. This session. George came onto the radio right before the session ended, and he's like, I'm not really feeling super confident in the corner from 2 years ago, which is the corner he crashed in. Nobody said a response, so poor him. Everybody was like, well, suck it up, but he seemed pretty confident. He went P3 overall session. It was P1 Max Verstappen, P2 Oscar Piastri, and P3 George Russell. That was when I was like, okay, Max Verstappen, you have one job. Win Singapore, because this is the only race on the calendar he hasn't won yet. But
me personally, I was
for 2026.
Sat squarely in George camp.
I wanted George to win, but like I needed Max to just get a perfect 24 out of 24 races won. Yes,
but I think you could perhaps call this weekend Redemption Day for somebody else.
Ugh. I mentioned Redemption Day, I'm gonna cry. But that takes us on to quali. Q1, session 1. We got a yellow flag very quickly into the session.
Yeah.
Still don't know why. No one told us.
It went
Even the commentators were like, there was a yellow flag. We don't know why. And it was there for maybe like a minute, which is pretty long for F1 standards. And no one still...
Yeah.
No one still doesn't know. So...
yeah.
Also, this is when Isaac Hadjar was going faster than the Ferraris. I'm sorry. I just have to note it. Also, Antonelli and Sainz were under investigation for impeding. Didn't replay it, so I don't know who was impeding who, but no further action was necessary, so... I also feel like Singapore is such a tight track that, like, you're going to get impeded once or twice, and you're just going to have to report it, because that's what you do.
Yeah,
but, like
Monaco,
probably nothing's going to come out of...
Where that's just what happens.
Very close to the end of this Q1, we got a yellow flag. Pierre went directly straight into the wall. Didn't even attempt to save it, because his car had a total... mechanical failure, meaning he had no way of controlling the car, which likely of Alpine.
Yeah, totally, but it still sucks. I mean, was it Canada?
Yeah, it's still
Who had no brakes in Canada? Norris.
Norris.
Yeah, and they like physically had to stop his car.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't. Anyways, you couldn't pay me $1 million to stand in front of an F1 car trying to stop it. Just clarifying that.
It's so funny when you go to like at Silverstone when we were stood outside the paddock, you could tell which team member, which mechanic was probably like the front jackman because they were like 3 times size of everyone
Aston
else.
Martin's. It was so funny when I did the pit lane walk. Aston Martin let me and Megan because we were the only two standing there. Everybody ran to Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, and Ferrari. And Meg and I were like, we just want to take photos of our little green car. And it's so funny. Even like the difference between Lance's and Fernando's. Lance's is like a stick, but he definitely has, muscle. Like he can definitely lift a car. But Fernando's is jacked. Like, I was like, that is a big man. He is a big man. And it's because Fernando has more weights in his car because he's smaller. So to even it out, he has more weights in the front of his car. But like, it's just so funny. And then like his other mechanics that are like doing the tires and like running around are so small.
Yeah.
Because they have to be fast and quick and not in the way. It's just so funny to see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you've never been to a race or you've never seen like a front jackman, this wouldn't make sense because it really doesn't show on the television like it does in real life, but you would know it. But basically that yellow flag happened, went green pretty quickly. Nothing exciting really happened after that. So the drivers that were out were Gabriel Bortoleto, Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto, Esteban Ocon, and Pierre Gasly. Can we just note Pierre Gasly did crash and he was still the last to be out?
Yeah. So,
like, kudos to him.
Peace it clean.
Yeah. So that moves us on to Q2, which really nothing happened that big. Kimi Antonelli got his time deleted. And I will say, I think it was Julian Palmer who was like, his time shouldn't have been deleted. And they did the onboard. And he goes, his time definitely had to be deleted. Like, he fully went over. But, like, when it showed, like, the front wing camera, you didn't see the front wing go over. And then the onboard, you're like, oh, he's over. He's clearly over.
Yeah.
Also, this is the session that we found out Lewis was literally fighting the car to turn. Like, fully 360-degree turn to turn it just a little bit around.
Oh, yeah, because that's a shock.
But the drivers that were out were Nico Hülkenberg, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, Liam Lawson, and Yuki Tsunoda. We have to note that Ollie Behrman is through and Isaac Hadjar.
Yeah. 2 rookies in Q3.
If Hadjar really does get promoted, I'm going to be really happy he stays in F1, but a Red Bull?
I'm not really sure that's a promotion, I'll be honest.
It's not, but like promoted in F1 terms, he's now on a top team, but like...
Yeah.
I will say, I think watching some like clips from last year, because I was like, who is this kid? So like I watched like his highlights. He does drive very similarly to Max in the sense of he really likes a heavy front wing, which is what Max wants. And it's why Checo, it's why Pierre, Alex, even like Yuki and Liam was struggling to drive the car because Max had such a unique way of driving.
Well,
I think Isaac Hadjar though has less of a heavy front wing. Like Max likes it to heavy. The max.
Well,
like,
not to say that might not happen, but according to the rumor mill, Carls is looking at throwing in the red hat and has allegedly spoken to Red Bull, Aston Martin.
Yeah, but he's been speaking to everyone. He's been speaking to Mercedes, McLaren, Aston, Red Bull. I think it's not going to be this next season. I think it's going to be 2027.
I just think,
which Red Bull gives a 1-year contract to everybody
Yeah.
who isn't Max.
I feel like it would be good for him, but at the same time, it's so heartbreaking because, Charles.
We're going to talk about we'll
Brilliant.
talk another rumor after because it's about Oscar, but a
Yeah.
direct reasoning is the race. So, but yeah, Charles, do something good. Listen to Sebastian Vettel. Don't waste it.
No, I hate that sentence.
Don't waste it. But going on to Q3, George brushed the wall, and by brushed, I mean he took some paint off, and he still went fastest, and that's when I went, wait a minute, is this going to be a George Russell win? Is this going to be a George Russell pole? I was so excited, and I think it also helped that Lando was really struggling with the car. Nobody knows why. He just seemed like he was really struggling. Not as much as the Ferraris, but he didn't seem very comfortable in the car. So it definitely did help him, but George went fastest overall. P1, George Russell. P2, Max Verstappen. And P3, Oscar Piastri.
What a good top three.
Yeah, but that takes us on to the race. But before that, we found out that both Williams were disqualified because their rear wing was too small.
Yeah, so welcome to Ferrari. I don't know. You can take
Welcome
Carlos
back, Carlos Sainz, Ferrari.
Yeah, you can take Carlos out. You can't take Ferrari away.
So Williams basically just took the PU penalty, gave Alex a new PU unit. Pierre also got a new PU unit, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. So both of them were starting from the pit lane. And Carlos was starting from the back of the grid. So he was P18 no matter where he qualified. Also something to note was Max started on softs while everybody else in the top 5 was on mediums. And George pre-race was interviewed and he goes, I'm really nervous because he's on softs.
Yeah.
And everybody thought Max was going to overtake George before turn 1. That is not what happened. It seemed like everybody on Max's side of the track got a really, really bad start. So George kept the lead. And while that was happening, McLaren went up in flames. Lando avoided Max. By avoiding Max, he hit Oscar. Almost drove Oscar into the wall. Also damaged his front wing from Max's rear tire. And then kept driving.
And stayed in front.
And, okay, I get it's a turn 1 incident. But from somebody who's not a McLaren fan, it doesn't really have any coins in this bucket because I'm rooting for Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. I don't understand McLaren's team order rules. I don't understand it.
Well,
because the one rule of papaya rules is don't crash into each other. You can race, don't crash into each other. Isn't that exactly what Lando did?
Well, yes. And when you think 2 races ago, Oscar had to give back position for a team error on a slow pit stop. Australia last year, he gave up a podium at his home race for Lando.
I just this is not Lando's fault because he was in the car. Any driver would keep driving until they're told team orders. Don't get me wrong. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, it's Lando's fault. I'm like, no, it's the pit wall's fault. Let's blame the pit wall. Let's blame those people who could easily say, hey, listen, papaya rules is don't crash into each other, and that's exactly what Lando did. But I don't understand. And everyone's like, oh, well, Oscar had 65 laps to make up for it. And Lando with the pit stop only had 5 laps. I'm like, well, okay. The same could be said. Lando could easily keep up with Oscar in front of him for 5 laps because that's the fastest car on track. So if you are actually a very good driver, as Lando is, because he's one of the 20 on the grid, he should be able to overtake and race his teammate.
Also, right, a pit stop is a team error. That's nothing to do with Lando or Oscar.
Yeah.
Whereas
I
making contact with your teammate is a driver error regardless.
It's also not very team-like. You're trying to win the Constructors. This is your Constructors championship. You're going to win this. And you're going to take one of your cars out? Really? That's not very team-like.
As said by Oscar Piastri himself.
But, yeah. There's a lot of debate about that, and we could go on and on. I'm not going to repeat the words that everybody's saying. I just don't think it's a very good precedent that McLaren has now set for Oscar Piastri. For Lando's sake. I'm not even a Lando girl. I'm not a McLaren girl, but them telling Oscar, you know what, we're not going to do team orders. The FIA investigated it. The stewards investigated it. It's not anything to be penalized. That is giving Oscar Piastri permission to be as aggressive to Lando Norris as possible.
Yes.
So, and Lando fans, Oscar could take Lando out. And you know what? He's going to say, Lando did it to me in Singapore. Like,
I think that
they're asking for Lewis Hamilton and Nico Hülkenberg again. This
particular race has cemented the divide between not only the McLaren fans and everybody else, but also the drivers on who they want to win the championship. Circa some advice given to Oscar.
Yeah.
By Lewis. And then
yeah. It's just, it's not a very good precedent set by McLaren. I like a good team battle. Don't get me wrong. Sebastian Vettel is my favorite driver. Of course, I'm going to like good team battles. However, I like when they're fair. Yeah. And you're telling me that a bad pit stop calls for team orders, but a driver driving into his teammate doesn't.
You know what? I hope Oscar Piastri wins the championship, and then over the radio goes, "Not bad for a number 2 driver." Because that would be so funny.
But while that was going on, and all of that debate was going on, Isaac Hadjar and Ollie Behrman collided, and they were noted for a collision. Did they ever show it? No. They were too busy showing significant others in the garage. Yeah.
Like, I
still haven't seen it, by the way. Also, while it was going on, Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz overtook like 7 people each. Did we ever see it? No. Have they posted it yet? No.
You see, when they, like, I don't mind, like, seeing
like, they showed Carmen at the end of it. That makes sense.
I don't mind seeing the others, like, the significant others at some points in the race, whatever. But when they do show the race, they're only ever showing the top, like, the top half. I want to see the midfield and the back as well, not just... I don't want to just see the midfield and the back. Especially when there's,
a good battle.
Yeah, when there's been a crash.
No matter who's fighting, if it's a good battle, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Like, was it Silverstone? Somebody, like, overtook, like, 10 people, didn't know until somebody tweeted about it. I was like, wait, what? Because they didn't show, like, it's just, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But, nothing really happened after that until lap 7, where there was a yellow flag. Still don't know who it was for, again. But lap 8 is when the drama started with cars. Esteban Ocon reported that he had no brakes. Which, he must have had some brakes because he didn't DNF, so,
yeah, like, I don't know, maybe he just figured it out.
Maybe they Control-Alt-deleted it, I don't know, but, you know. And then lap 14, was when the pit stops started. So Gabriel Bortoleto pit. There was a damaged front wing. Nobody knows from where because they were too busy.
Maybe that was
You know,
the
once
yellow
again, in the
flag.
garages. But they did a pretty good pit stop with a front wing change. I was like, oh, okay, we're going to get good pit stops this race. We're not going to talk about that yet, but trust me, they didn't. At the same time, Yuki pit. And then the lap after, Franco Colapinto pit. It's kind of fun to see all these drivers, like one driver pits and then like 6 other drivers pit to
protect.
Like, yeah, but it's just like so funny how like it's a domino effect. But lap 15, I think, or 16 is when McLaren came onto the radio to Lando and said, "Are you okay if Oscar pits first?" Lando said yes, and then he goes, "Actually, no." Once again, McLaren, what? Why? Why are we asking a driver? Like, that's not a driver's duty. That is a strategist's duty, and a driver should not have a say.
It's not even like Lando's pit stop. If they had asked Lando, do you think we should pit now? That would have been understandable. But then to ask Lando whether he...
Do you want Oscar to pit first?
Yeah. Bear in mind, they are championship rivals. Oscar is leading the championship.
It's also very different because I know people were talking about this because people were upset and they were like, well, they always ask Max if he wants to pit first or Checo wants to pit first. I go, Checo's P10, Max was P1.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, they're both fighting, which, by the way, Red Bull probably would have asked, and I would be having the same exact communication of why are they asking a driver when he's also fighting his teammate for this world championship battle. That's just not, like, it's just not, that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, like, that's ridiculous, and I think
but
Piastri is well within his rights to kick off.
Yeah. But because of that, lap 17, Lando Norris gets the call to pit to overtake Max because they want to overtake Max in the pit lane. This was a dummy call, and can I just tell you, every single person went, that might work on Ferrari, doesn't work on Max Verstappen or Red Bull. And before you say it wouldn't have worked for Ferrari, it did. Because previously in the season, they fell for it. The issue is they were talking on the radio before saying, how do you feel about pitting to overtake Max? Like,
no, but I think the way they've dummy called this one, I don't think that specifically would have worked on Ferrari because nobody says we're going to pit to overtake X driver. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's true. But don't worry, they didn't have to worry about calling it for Max because 3 laps later, lap 20, Max pits. It's a 3-second pit stop, not the fastest Red Bull has ever done. And lap 21, the lap after, Isaac Hadjar pits. Their junior team has a 2.4-second pit stop. That's embarrassing for Red Bull Racing. That's embarrassing. Your junior team is better than your actual team. Okay. But then lap 22, Leclerc pits. He was supposed to pit to get out of traffic. He was stuck in traffic. They put him right behind Sauber.
Likely. I don't know what to say anymore.
He did overtake the Sauber very quickly, which thankfully I was expecting that from him, but you never know with Ferrari cars. But Hamilton pit a few laps later, lap 25, and he got a 3.5 pit stop.
Not terrible.
And I was like, oh, that's slow though for a top team. That's pretty slow. It's like, okay,
well,
that's got to be the slowest. No, we'll get there. It's got to be slowest this race. And then lap 26 is when the leader came in. George came in. It was a 2.5-second pit stop. Right after Kimi Antonelli was 2.4. So they're pretty accurate together. And then Lando pit because obviously they were trying to mark off George. That was a 2.1-second pit stop. So for the first time in like 4 or 5 races, Lando had a fast pit stop, which like I get why he wants to pit first because of the superstition of like, oh, the second pit stop. Every time I've been a second pit stop, I've had a bad pit stop. I do think that should have been before the race, though, not during the race, personally. And I was like, okay, McLaren's got it figured out. The lap after, Oscar pits.
It's not even
5.2 seconds.
5.2 on your
I don't want to
championship leader car.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about a slow pit stop ever again.
Hang on a minute. No. This car is ahead of the championship and has been since round 5. And your car is, I don't even know.
Whoa. But this lap was also when Isaac was told, hi, Isaac, we have some really bad engine issue. You need to do LICO. And he's like, what's wrong with it? And they go, it's just an issue. Trust me. Fernando Alonso can definitely testify that he didn't have an engine issue. But speaking of Fernando Alonso, the next lap, lap 28, they pit Fernando Alonso. Aston Martin.
Shall I say it?
We're bad at everything. We are bad at everything but usually pit stops. Our pit stops are usually pretty dang fast. So what the heck is a 9.2 second pit stop doing with Fernando Alonso? 9.2. He was running P7. He had a 9.2 second pit stop. He was running P17. He dropped 10. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Neither did he, because they came onto the radio and was like, okay, Fernando, we have 34, whatever. He goes, don't talk to me, or I'm going to unplug you.
Well, you know, like father, like son, I suppose, in terms of end of the race.
I will also like to just testify to Fernando Alonso's ability, because everyone's like, oh, he's washed, he should retire. He was P17 on lap 28. He finished P8. But between lap 28 and lap 40, nothing really big happened besides another sassy Alonso radio where he was fighting Isaac Hadjar. And he goes, trophy for this one. And everybody took it wrong. Everyone's like, he wants the trophy because, like, he's struggling the most and it's always him. I feel like he was
feels like a
commentating on Isaac Hadjar's ability to defend, because it took him like 3 laps to pass Isaac Hadjar. Yeah, I think. Who, by the way, apparently had engine issues.
Yeah, I think he was saying that Isaac was doing a good job, rather than.
That's what I thought too, but apparently not. No, it was. He did clarify. He was like, I was talking about Isaac. I was just angry at my team. But lap 40 is when Max Verstappen reported a very big issue. He says every time he's trying to brake, his handbrake is heavy, which for those people who have been around for a while, like early 2000s, a heavy handbrake used to be very good because that meant you could kind of slide around the corner and you wouldn't lose that much time. In modern day F1 cars, the last thing you want is a heavy handbrake because that means there's more drag, which means you are going to be slower and losing more time in the corners. So, yeah, and he was like, can we do something? And I'm like, no. I'm like, if I was Max Verstappen, I think I'd just run over everybody. Like, what? This is why I can't be an F1 driver, because if I got angry and I was in a car, I'd probably run over some cones or something.
Yeah, literally.
But also around this time, this is when, I don't remember if it was Oscar or Lando, but they were asking, how do you feel if there's a safety car, we put on softs? Because once there's a safety car, you wouldn't lose as much time in the pit lane. I think it was Oscar. but I don't want to say 100% it was Oscar. And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then like a lap later, so lap 45, there was a yellow flag, and I was like, are they gonna actually do this strategy? Hulkenberg was off. He's a little too good of a driver though, because he saved it, so he just went right back on. So there was no safety car this race.
Good.
But also lap 60, Hamilton came onto the radio and he's like, hi, I have no brakes. And they were like, okay, we're checking. While they were checking, he goes flying across the track. He literally was flying, okay? And at the time, Fernando Alonso was muttering, I can't believe it, I cannot believe it, I can't believe it, I can't believe it, about 50 times, okay? I guess people took that as he was talking about Lewis Hamilton not getting penalized, which, by the way, at the end of the race, Hamilton was penalized. A 5-second penalty was rewarded. And this has brought back 18-year-old beef between two drivers who are way too old to get angry at each other, and yet
McLaren beef! McLaren beef! Times 2 this race.
Lewis Hamilton posted on his Instagram story 18 years of it, and it's a compilation of people going, I can't believe it, I cannot believe it, I can't believe it. Alonso fans got angry and said the most atrociously racist things about Lewis Hamilton, which is the most disgusting thing. And for 18 years of it, Lewis Hamilton has been getting harassed like that from Alonso fans, on top of everybody else, which now Alonso fans are like, not all Alonso fans, which, okay, you can say that, but why are we not condemning, hey, that's also racist, and the majority of them do say things that are highly, highly racist towards Lewis Hamilton and his fans.
Also, with Lewis posted that story at 2 minutes past 7.
7-2.
Yeah, as in
7-2
championship. So,
which is also, I will like to say that I find this beef hilarious because, first of all, post race they were like, "What do you think about Lewis Hamilton?" And Fernando's like, "It's shocking what he can get away with." And then they were like, "Well, he had no brakes," and he goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, he wasn't getting away with it then." Like, they clarify, he didn't know he didn't have brakes, and as soon as he did, he's like, "Okay, whatever." I do think Alonso still thinks Lewis Hamilton gets away with things that he shouldn't, which is a crazy statement and inaccurate, but and then Lewis posts that story, and like 2 seconds later, Fernando Alonso posts this video of him freaking working out. I'm like, Fernando Alonso has no idea Lewis Hamilton is being shitty to him.
It's just so funny, because like Antonelli was a whole 1 years old when you guys became teammates, and now Antonelli is on the grid with you, and you're still
fighting. But like, 18 years of it, I too would be tired of it.
Oh yeah,
if I was Lewis Hamilton. Like,
it's just funny.
And I'm an Alonso fan, by the way. I love Fernando Alonso, but I can guarantee you, his fans have said the most atrocious, racist things against Lewis Hamilton and his fans, and he's yet to condemn it. And it's tiring. It is tiring. And like, yes, okay, he said things about Black Lives Matter, but he's never said anything organically. Yeah. He's always been prompted and scripted.
Yeah.
Like, really? Anyways, that's that beef. But for the last 5 laps, I was voting erratically for Fernando Alonso to get driver of the day. So you're welcome, Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso. I got him that award. You're welcome. But nothing really big happened. George Russell won. Redemption Day for George Russell, baby. P2 was Max Verstappen. He's keeping that P2 record alive. And P3 was Lando Norris. And I don't know if you saw the cool down room, but George and Lando, they were like, how close were you to Charles? And
Oscar, you mean?
Max was like, to Oscar. No, it was something with Charles. They were talking about something with Charles. Because they said Charles, and Lando said something kind of like, oh, he was miles behind me. And Max was drinking his water, and he was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Like, and then talking about being shady to each other on Instagram stories, Max Verstappen, you rock my world.
Yeah, Verstappen as a duo is alive and well, let me tell you that much. But Max posted a picture of him in front of Norris.
Like, a huge gap.
So
I love when Max is shady, because I know he doesn't run his own Instagram. But when things like that happen, I go, that's Max.
it's
Because
like,
that is his personality.
like, I know, like, you know, when Charles has access to his own Instagram, because like that video he posted of like him and Carlos, like that's so personal.
Charles.
Whereas normally the most Charles does on Instagram is create the most elaborate stories known to man, with the background and the matching post.
But while that podium was going on, they also had a podium because McLaren won the Constructors. They took home the trophy. As they were taking a photo and going onto the podium, Oscar Piastri was in the media pen doing media duties, and you can see it. Carlos Sainz is getting interviewed. He has Oscar Piastri walking right by him, and Oscar Piastri is watching this podium celebration take place
on the screen. See, you can see Oscar
and mind
look, and then
it's different if Lando wasn't there, but Lando was there, so you're celebrating with one driver.
Yeah. You know, I have heard that it was supposed to be just for like the mechanics and the engineers, like the actual team members. That's what that celebration was supposed to be for. However,
but then don't have Lando up there. Like,
yeah, you should have felt, oh, Lando is here, so that
can we just wait or get Oscar Piastri, and we'll take the fine. Zach Brown, let me tell you, you were rich enough. I saw that court case that's happening right now with Alex Palou and Alexander Rossi. I know how rich you are, sir. Yeah, there was just a lot of issues with McLaren this race. Hopefully Coda, there's not as many issues. But who was your winner and who's your loser?
The winner is George and Mercedes, for sure, because, you know, they've had a bad season, but
it's redemption day for George Russell.
I would say my loser is Oscar, because I think the team have made it clear who they want to win, but I don't think it's not necessarily going to be the same as who is going to win.
Oscar Piastri, you have one job in Coda, and it's to unplug your radio. Thank you.
And I think if Oscar, I think Oscar might decide if he can't win the championship, then neither can
Lando.
Lando.
I think my winner is George. Not Mercedes, but George. Because him and Singapore don't get along.
Also,
and to not only win Singapore, but to win Singapore in a car that doesn't do well in heat. I know my
Not to indulge in the rumor mill, but do you see the pictures that George and Carmen posted afterwards? Yeah. Did you notice how her left hand wasn't in any of them?
No.
Like,
I'm excited if they're engaged. If they're not,
but like,
okay, like
they were not in any picture, and I was like, that is interesting.
But my loser is gonna have to be Liam Lawson or McLaren. They're kind of tied. Liam Lawson, because, sir, you have your career on the line, and but you crashed twice in a row.
Yeah.
While Yuki Tsunoda did pretty well this race, he had the fastest pit stop. Okay, not looking so good for him. And my other loser is McLaren, because it's just imploding.
Yeah.
Not only just F1, but like Zach Brown is literally in a court case right now with IndyCar drivers because he's suing Alex Palou, and then it was just found that he was deleting all this information that his lawyers and their lawyers said don't delete. That's valuable information we need for the court case, and he told all of his employees to delete it.
Wow. What can you do, really?
So yeah, actually Zach Brown, my loser, not McLaren as a whole. Zach Brown.
Yeah.
Or the FIA, because I can't decide what's a penalty and what's not. I don't understand their rules, but yeah, that was it for Singapore. Next is Austin. It's not this weekend, but it's next weekend. But this weekend's IMSA, so everybody should go watch. It's the last of the race of the season. Logan Sargent will be driving, so
road, but
just
okay.
So is K Mag. So, everybody, we will see you then.